Mainstream ego boosting is for woke losers and weak men. Now, what do I mean by mainstream ego boosting? Seems like whenever you turn on your television, whenever you throw on a movie, whenever you see an advertisement, wherever you turn around these days, you constantly see this type of mainstream ego boosting telling you you're perfect the way you are. Oh, you're beautiful being fat and big, right? We have this fat acceptance movement going on. We have this like ugly movement acceptance going on where, hey, anybody can be a model, mister. Doesn't matter if you're 300 pounds overweight, you could be a model like Tess Holliday. Doesn't matter how unattractive you are. You could be on the cover of Vogue, right? All this other nonsense. It's always female oriented, by the way. You notice that? You don't see any like fat beer belly type dudes with their gut hanging out on the cover of Muscle and Fitness, right? Instead, you'll see this on female-oriented magazines, websites, television shows where they're promoting like fat acceptance or unattractive acceptance. Like if the chick's not attractive, like, oh girl, you could do it all, you could be it all. People should love you for who you are, just the way you are. You should not have to lose weight. You should be able to keep your cholesterol levels at dangerously high levels where you will die from a stroke or a heart attack one day, and nobody should be able to say anything against it, right? So right now we're going through a phase where there's a lot of this, what I call mainstream ego boosting, right? And you know what? At the end of the day, it's all bullshit, guys, okay? It's all bullshit, because at the end of the day, as it says in the Bible, only the devil, only Satan will accept you for who you are. Okay? Only Satan will accept you exactly as you are. Okay? He will take you exactly as you are. Whereas God wants you to improve. God wants you to be the absolute best that you could be. He put you on this earth to grow as a man, to expand, to learn, to self-educate, to gain knowledge, to become better, to become the best version of yourself you possibly can, to fall down, to make mistakes, and then get back up and to become stronger, more knowledgeable, smarter, faster, more clever, a better human being for society, somebody who could add value, even more value to the next generations to come. Okay? God doesn't want you to stay exactly where you are. He doesn't want you to sit still and accept the fact that you're a fat fudge, right? That you're a fat ass, that you're a failure. He wants you to become better. Okay? Only the devil will accept you for who you are. Okay? And this, I'm getting a little biblical here, but this is the only way I know how to explain it, guys, because this is what's in the Bible, right? And if you don't believe, this is what nature wants, right? Because this is how nature set us up as well. Nature set up humanity for the strong to survive. Have you ever heard that saying? Only the strong survive. The weak get eliminated. Look throughout history. Look at what's happened. Has the weak survived? No. The weak has always been exterminated from society. They become extinct, right? We still have weak people in society today, and they too, their bloodline will become extinct because only the strong survive. Period. Okay? Period. I remember there was this song, actually I just heard the song on the radio, but anytime this song plays, it just makes my stomach turn. It's some blue pill simp singing this, I want to say, right? I don't know who the artist is. I don't even want to call this person an artist, but the lyrics go, because you're amazing, just the way you are. You're beautiful and you're amazing, just the way you are. It's like the most blue pill simp type, like beta song you could possibly ever hear. But it's that type of song and many songs like it. Okay, that's not the only song. It's the only song that's coming into my head right now. But I've heard many songs like that, especially these days, right? And many advertisements like this, kind of mimicking that same message that you're perfect just the way you are. You don't need to change. They're especially propagandizing this towards, like, say, transgenders, right? And other people who might have, like, mental issues, that they need help with. They need real help. And instead of trying to help them, they enable them. Now, you're perfect just the way you are. Anybody who has anything else to say about it is hateful, is a bigot, is a racist, probably a Trump supporter, right? You know, and then they just kind of box you in. And they keep you from actually helping this person who might really genuinely need help. Right? And this is why I always say, and I'll say this to my dying day, like the left has so much blood on their hands, it's insane. The left has so much blood on their hands, it's insane. Okay? And as they say, right, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Why can't they see that? Why can't they see that? I cannot stand this mainstream ego boosting. I mean, if you're buying into this, that you're just perfect the way you are, you don't have to change a thing about you, mister. You're beautiful. You're beautiful 300 pounds overweight. You're beautiful eating burritos and grande nachos at 2 in the morning and pizza for breakfast and cake for lunch. Yeah, it's perfect, right? It's perfect. We all have different bodies. We're a society of difference, right? Diversity and all this other stuff. You're an idiot, right? You're just a woke loser, right? And I want to pull you out from that, right? I want to pull you away from that because you could be better than that. Don't buy into this mainstream ego boosting that's going on right now. That's becoming prevalent not only in pop songs, pop culture, but television shows, movies, advertising. I see this everywhere now. This mainstream ego boosting, it's so unhealthy, like mentally and physically and spiritually, it's unhealthy, right? Because like I said, the only person who will ever accept you for the way you are is the devil, is Satan, right? He will take you just as you are. He doesn't want you to improve. He wants you to stay exactly where you are. He feeds off of misery. He feeds off of pain. He feeds off of anguish. He feeds off of unhappiness because he knows beyond all of this mainstream ego boosting and ego pumping, at the end of the day, when you're alone in your room, right, when you're all by yourself and you're laying down, there's no song playing telling you you're amazing just the way you are, and you're laying in bed all by yourself, you realize what a train wreck your life is. You realize how unhappy you are, how shitty you feel inside. The thousands of grams of carbs you're ingesting every single day. You realize how crappy you feel. Regardless of all these songs that will temporarily pump you up like a little sugar rush, like, oh, it's okay. I could be a piece of shit. It's okay. People will accept me, right? Fat acceptance. No, at the end of the day, you're hurting and you know you are. And this is why God wants you to improve. He wants you to become the best person you can possibly be. He wants you to grow and expand. That's what life is about. That's why you were put here. No matter where you are starting from right now, you can always become better. I mean, when I grew up, my family, where we grew up, we didn't have money. We were very, very middle class, even below that. But I wanted to see how far I could go. When I see people who are now successful, who came from very, very humble upbringings, even poor upbringings where they didn't have money. They might have been living on welfare. They might have been living in a trailer park, right? One of my biggest mentors, he grew up in a trailer park. Now he's like a gazillionaire. He has all these successful businesses around the world. He's very, very successful. I look at people like that who have become more than what they ever thought they could be. They've grown far beyond the goals they ever had for themselves. Those people, it's like you can see in their eyes, like they have like the light of God in their eyes. They have just a very, very, I don't know how I could describe it. They have like a very, very ominous presence about them. They went far beyond what anybody could ever have given them credit for. Whereas you look at the people who are just destined and cursed. I mean, really, that's what it is. It's a curse to stay exactly where they are in life, to never move forward, but to stay exactly where they are in life. Those people just always have darkness in their eyes. It's like their eyes are almost like blackened, right? There's like a dark energy around them. There's always a lot of angry, self-inflicted anger around them as well. A lot of these people are very angry. I mean, I grew up in San Francisco, so I was surrounded by leftists. I grew up around leftists. I know them very well. I was friends with a lot of them growing up, and A lot of them I just had to cut off because there was constant anger, outrage. There's always something they needed to be pissed off about. They were just never happy people. And it's like, that's just not my way. I want to be surrounded by happy people. I want to be surrounded by people who want to win in life. I want to be surrounded by people who want to go for it. It's like, hey dude, I'm sorry you weren't born with a silver spoon in your mouth. I'm sorry you weren't born, with perfect parents. I'm sorry you weren't born in the perfect neighborhood. But you know what? Screw it. Let's go out and try to make something of ourselves. Let's go out and try to be bigger. Right? And I grew up with people like that where I did give that exact same speech, right? Who were just always down on themselves, always kicking themselves, always feeling oppressed and all this. And I don't blame them so much as I blame like the mainstream, right? The mainstream who's like implanted this into their heads. Like, oh, you're oppressed. You're this race or you're that race. Oh, you can never be anything because you grew up in this country or you're from this neighborhood. Nope, you're stuck there. It's not your fault. It's these people or that people. They're always playing the victim. They're always blaming somebody else. And that's one thing I can't stand. I can't stand people who play the victim. I can't stand people who play like the oppressed card. Oh, I'm oppressed because of this. I'm oppressed because of that. It's like, are you friggin' kidding me? At no point in history have you ever lived in a time, or will you ever live in a time, where you have had more freedom and equal opportunity to become anything you want to be in life. Okay? We are never ever going to all start from the same starting point. We're always going to come from different walks of life, different socioeconomic backgrounds, but you know what? At the end of the day, it's up to you to actually make shit happen. Okay? It's up to you to make shit happen. I told you guys, like me growing up, I had never seen a rich person in my life. We didn't know any rich people. We didn't know any successful people. The only people we knew were working stiffs. So I was like, okay, I guess that's what life is about. In the back of my mind, I was always like, how far can I take this? What else can I do with myself? Yeah, I didn't grow up in a mansion. We didn't have money growing up, but what can I do with myself? What power do I have that I can expand upon? What skills do I have that I can use? What am I good at? What can I use to bring myself to another level? I was always looking at things that I had, any unique talents that I had that I could use to empower myself, right? I didn't spend an ounce of time thinking about like, oh, it's all of these people, these rich people who have money, or it's all these people who are in this fancy neighborhood who grow up with privilege, or I didn't care about that. All I care about is me. And the funny thing is, fast forward 40 years later, 4 decades later, I still see the same thing happening in society today, whereas it's always the mainstream news. This is why I tell you guys, turn off your TV. The mainstream news is not your friend, okay? They are not your friend. Right? They are constantly there to make you feel oppressed, to make you feel like a victim, to make you feel like you're not getting this and they are. They're always constantly trying to play this race card. Seriously, they're race hustlers. I've been seeing this my entire life, right? They're just race hustling all the time. Like, that's how you're race. It's always this. It's always that. Oh, it's your socioeconomic background because all these people have the money, so we need to tax the shit out of them. And it's like, just turn off your TV, guys, and focus on yourself. I don't care what you believe. Turn off your TV and focus on yourself, all right? Don't let them make you feel like you have a target on your back. And that's their job. They want you to feel like you have a target on your back, like it's not your fault, when, you know what? I'm telling you otherwise. It is your fault, all right? It is your fucking fault. If you're sitting there doing nothing, thinking you're oppressed and I'm a victim, and then you're just going out there like a robot who's been programmed by the mainstream narrative, by the mainstream news, by the mainstream media, you're going out there and acting as one of their robots, right? You're not acting out of your own frame, you're acting out of their frame. And their frame is to keep you feeling oppressed, to keep you feeling like a victim, to keep you feeling unhappy and unsatisfied in life. Because the last thing the mainstream news wants is for people to be happy, walking around with smiles on their faces, because if that were to happen, guess what? They would become irrelevant. Late night talk show hosts, and their talk shows itself would become irrelevant. Hollywood would become irrelevant. Movies, television, advertising would all become irrelevant, wouldn't it? If people were suddenly happy, they wouldn't need all these products. They wouldn't need to watch the news. They wouldn't need any of this shit. A lot of what I teach you guys is unplugging yourself from the matrix. So if you're still plugged into the matrix, and especially if you're still watching mainstream news and mainstream media and you're buying into their bullshit, as long as you keep doing that, you can never actually move on with your life. If we fast forward 10 years from now, 20 years from now, even 30 years from now, now you're gonna be an old man still glued to your TV set, still glued to the television, still watching that shit play out on CNN, MSNBC, or whatever other news channel you watch, keeping you feeling pissed off, keeping you feeling angry, keeping you feeling like a victim, keeping you feeling oppressed. That's what their job is. Okay? That's what their job is. I don't know how I went off on this tangent, right? But yeah, when I start talking about the mainstream news, man, I can't stand it. All of this, like ego boosting, again, which is coming from the mainstream, telling you you're perfect the way you are, you don't need to change a thing, it's all of these people's fault, they're oppressing you, they're keeping you from becoming the best you could be, you just love yourself for who you are, all this other shit. Garbage, right? It's garbage. You have to work on yourself. You have to be the best you can be. And you have to hold yourself accountable when you don't, when you're not on your grind, when you're not making things happen, when you haven't found your path and purpose yet. What have I told you guys when you haven't found your path and purpose yet? When you haven't found that, you are going to buy into the narrative. You're going to buy into all of this social justice bullshit telling you you're oppressed because you're this because you have this sexual preference, because you're this race, because you grow up in this neighborhood or whatever else. They're going to constantly have something to give you an excuse to feel why you are sucking at life. But at the end of the day, as a man, the only person you really can blame that on is yourself. Go look in the mirror. Because again, we all come from different backgrounds. Nobody has it perfect in life. We all come from different backgrounds. And to be honest with you, the guys that I've met later in life who've come from financially well-off backgrounds, the guys who've come from rich homes or wealthy homes, those are the guys who are the biggest bitches in the world. I've gotten these guys on my program, on boot camp. They've come from privilege. They've come from wealthy households. These are the guys who come on my boot camp and want me to do everything for them. These are the guys who aren't willing to try. These are the guys who are going to piss on you for trying because it threatens their world. It threatens who they are as a man. It threatens their inability to take action for themselves because everything's been handed to them their whole lives. This is why you'll see a lot of people who are social justice warriors, who are out there like rioting and shit like that. A lot of these people come from wealthy homes, right? Most of the Caucasian people out there rioting, that the left type liberal, I'm not race baiting or anything, I'm just saying they've always come from very rich or very wealthy backgrounds where both of their parents had professional jobs, whether they've been doctors, lawyers, CEO of a company or something like that, whereas now they have the funds, thanks to mommy and daddy, to go out there and just do all sorts of damage in society, and they don't have to worry about taking care of themselves financially, and even worse than that, to the point where they will hate on anybody who is going out there and trying to become successful financially and trying to crush it in life, right? I've noticed a lot of people who will try to hate on me, for example, because I've come from nowhere. I've come from a very poor, very middle class background to becoming financially successful. These guys will hate on me for trying to teach you how to do the same, trying to teach other guys how to build their own business, for example. They'll be like, oh, there's more to life than money. What about meditation? What about, travel? What about this? And it's like, I always look at these guys, especially if they have the balls to actually use their real social media, I will always peer into these guys, and 99% of the time, these guys have come from a very rich background, wealthy background. You could see from their photos, their families and their Instagrams, where they grew up. It's like, dude, your parents have money. You grew up rich. You don't know what it's like to struggle. You don't know what it's like to come from nothing. So of course you could sit around and bitch about how oh, you should just sit alone and meditate because you have mommy and daddy's trust fund to take care of you. A lot of us don't have that. A lot of us have to go out there and make shit happen out of nothing, right? Which you didn't have to do. You did not have to do that. Right? So at the end of the day, guys, remember what I said. Mainstream ego boosting is for woke losers and weak men. Period. Okay? Period. Right? Period. If you need that type of ego boosting from anybody else outside of yourself, you're weak. Okay? You're weak. And you need to stop playing the victim. You need to stop being playing like the oppressed card, and you need to make shit happen with your life, right? You need to make things happen. Of course, there's always going to be one or two guys who are going to drop comments and be like, oh, what if you're in Ethiopia? What about then? You know, it's like, dude, be real, okay? Be realistic here. You know what I'm talking about. All the crazy shit, the mainstream news, CNN, people in Ethiopia are not watching mainstream news and getting ego boosting. That's an entirely different world for an entirely different separate coaching video. What I'm talking about is all of you privileged motherfuckers here in the States and in the Western world and in other countries that are adopting the mindset of the mainstream, right? Where you're buying into this woke ass, loser ass, ego boosting, so that you can have an excuse to stay exactly where you are, and you can have an excuse to relieve yourself from your duties as a man to go out there and grow and expand and become the best you can be, right? If you're that friggin' weak, if you're that much of a pussy where you don't want to get up and you rather just sit alone in your bed and just cry about what everybody else is doing, cry about the injustices of the world rather than taking action, you'll see where your life ends up when you're 80 and you're on your deathbed and you look back and you've done jack shit with your life. You haven't done anything. You haven't affected anyone's life. You haven't added any value to the world. All you've done is spent your entire life bitching and moaning about all the oppression and all this other shit, and you'll be 80, 90 years old on your deathbed, and CNN will still be playing, and MSNBC and all these late night talk show hosts will still be on TV telling the next generation about how oppressed they are, the man is keeping them down, and how you're just perfect the way you are. You're amazing just the way you are. I can't stand that song, guys. I can't stand that song. Ugh. Can't stand it. If you know who sings it, drop it below, man, but I can't stand that song. With that said, until next time, this is Matt Cross from AlphaMaleSecrets. Don't forget to smash that like button below. Also, hit that notification bell right next to it so that you're notified whenever I upload a brand new coaching video here to the YouTube. More importantly, guys, please make sure you subscribe to my channel. Okay, I really, really appreciate it. If you subscribe to my channel, it helps me out with the YouTube algorithm, and it tells YouTube you love my videos, you want me to do more of them, you want me to share more of this knowledge with you. Okay, so please make sure you subscribe as well. And for you guys who want to support my work and all of this red pill, gold pill, and platinum pill content even further that I am teaching you guys, the best way to do that is by becoming a premium subscriber of my premium AlphaMaleSecrets program, which I am hosting on a private platform away from YouTube. And the reason why I'm doing that is to protect my premium AlphaMaleSecrets content from YouTube in the event that they shut me down one day, which, hey, look at all these channels are shutting down, right? It's not a far cry, you know, because I'm doing something that is going against the mainstream narrative where I am helping men and I'm not trying to hurt men, right? This is a pro-male channel. It's not an anti-male channel. So obviously, a lot of these social media companies do not like that. So this is why I'm hosting my premium AlphaMaleSecrets content on a private platform that is encrypted, that I'm paying for, so nobody can throw us off that. So even if YouTube takes us down one day, I will still have my premium content up on this private platform that I'm paying for, and you will not notice a single hiccup in that, right? So if you want to support my stuff, that is the absolute best way to do it, is by becoming a premium subscriber of my premium AlphaMaleSecrets channel, right? And the first month is only $1. It's only $1 for the entire first month of premium AlphaMaleSecrets content from me. And all you need to do to sign up is just click that link below in my description box. It will take you over to my website where you can get signed up right now. It just takes 2 seconds, so do that now, and I will see you in my next coaching video.